actually, it is the foot of Smith. And then, so did she have enough space to land? And typically, when a player comes down on a foot, even if it's slightly, it's enough to trigger that flagrant one.
Yeah, to at least look at it.
And it's upgraded to a flagrant foul, penalty one.
Yeah.
We appreciate Isaac Barnett's pipes there. That was not on microphone.
It wasn't.
He just yelled really loud.
We heard it loud and clear. You know, he's no newbie to the league. And one of the ones, I think they got it right on that. Big credit to Smith as she recognized who had the ball, wanted to do a hard closeout, just a little overzealous on that closeout, and didn't give enough.
You are watching Caitlin Clark hit the hardwood. You are watching the most important player in women's basketball, arguably in all of basketball right now, crumple to the floor of Gainbridge Fieldhouse because a defender decided to plant her foot right where Caitlin Clark was supposed to land. And the entire arena held its breath. I'm Dre Fiver, this is Street Hoops, and today we are not just talking about a basketball game, we are talking about what nearly became the most catastrophic moment in NBA history before the regular season even tipped off. Strap in, because this story has everything. A dominant performance, a dirty play, a referee moment that actually shocked the internet in a good way, a rookie stealing the show, and a coaching situation in Indianapolis that I have major questions about. Let's get into it. First, the context. The Indiana Fever and the Dallas Wings squared off in a preseason matchup on April 30th, 2026, streaming live on Amazon Prime. Now, I know some people want to say it's just preseason. Dre, relax. No, we are not relaxing. Because Caitlin Clark is coming into this season on a mission. If you remember, she was limited to just 13 games in her sophomore campaign after battling a left quad strain in training camp and then a groin re-injury that shut her down as early as July. 13 games. That is not a season. That is a cameo. So for Clark, every single minute she steps on a floor between now and the regular season opener on May 9th carries enormous weight. Her health is the entire conversation around this Fever franchise, and what happened in the third quarter of this preseason game could have sent that conversation into full-blown crisis mode. But before we even get to the scary stuff, let me make sure you understand what Caitlin Clark was doing in this game, because the performance itself was absolutely ridiculous. According to box scores reported by Hawk Central and confirmed across multiple outlets, Clark finished with 21 points on just 4 of 6 shooting from the field, 2 of 3 from beyond the arc, and an absurd 11 of 13 from the free throw line. She added 4 assists, 2 rebounds, and a steal, and she did all of that in just 16 minutes of playing time. 16 minutes. Let that marinate. She was scoring at an historic rate, playing like a woman possessed, playing like she had a score to settle with the entire world. And honestly, she did. Because coming off a season where her body kept betraying her, where the critics were sharpening their knives, where ESPN had her sliding down top player lists, Caitlin Clark came out and reminded every single person watching why she is the face of this league. She had 11 points in the first quarter alone. 11. On crossovers, on catch-and-shoot threes, on drives into the paint, and on a fadeaway that was described by broadcasters as nearly impossible to guard. By halftime, Clark was sitting at 19 points, and the Fever were getting outscored badly everywhere else on the floor, but she was a one-woman wrecking crew. The referees, I have to say it, were protecting her business tonight. Every time a defender breathed too hard in her direction, they were blowing that whistle. And look, I've been saying this for a long time. The NBA referees needed to get their act together when it comes to protecting their superstar players. And tonight, at least in terms of the foul calls, they showed up. Foul after foul after foul went Clark's way, and she cashed almost every single one of them at the free throw line. Now, let's talk about the play that changed the entire energy of this game. Third quarter, 7 minutes and 51 seconds remaining on the clock. Caitlin Clark pulls up for a step-back three-pointer. Classic Clark, a shot she has hit thousands of times. And as she elevates, as she's at the peak of her arc, Dallas Wings forward Alanna Smith slides her foot directly into Clark's landing zone. Clark comes down, her foot hits Smith's, and she goes to the floor hard. As reported by Fox News Sports, Clark told reporters after the game that she landed directly on her kneecap. Her kneecap. She rolled over on the court. She tried to walk it off. She limped toward the bench, and the entire building went silent. Now here is where the referees made the right call. Officials reviewed the play, and according to Bleacher Report, Athlon Sports, and Clutch Points, all confirming the same sequence, the foul was upgraded from a standard personal foul to a flagrant 1 penalty on Alanna Smith. The reason? Smith, who is the reigning co-defensive player of the year in this league, failed to give Clark adequate room to land after her shot. That is a reckless play. In basketball, at any level, you do not step into a shooter's landing zone. That is not defense. That is a danger to someone's health. And Smith knew exactly where Clark was going to come down. Clark, and this is the part that tells you everything you need to know about her character, stayed in long enough to take her 3 free throws. She hit 2 of the 3. She then subbed out for rookie Raven Johnson and did not return for the remainder of the game. According to reporting from The Athletic's James Boyd, Clark was evaluated by the Fever's medical staff on the bench but did not go to the locker room, which is a good sign. And after the final buzzer, Clark addressed the media directly. As cited by multiple outlets including Sports Illustrated, Clark said she feels fine and confirmed she simply landed hard on her kneecap. Those words, "I feel fine," were the most important words spoken in the sports world on May 1st, 2026. And Dre Fiver is breathing a big sigh of relief. Because if that play had gone worse, if Clark's ankle had rolled, if that knee had absorbed the full impact at a different angle, we could be having a completely different conversation right now. But here is my personal take, and I need you to hear me on this. Alanna Smith is the co-defensive player of the year. She is a professional. She knows the rules. She knows that stepping into a shooter's landing zone is flagrant conduct. So my question is simple. Was that reckless, or was that intentional? I'm not here to put words in anyone's mouth. I'm not here to make accusations I can't prove. But I am here to say that when you are defending the best player on the floor, a player who is already coming back from significant injury history, the very last thing you should be doing is putting your foot where her feet are supposed to land. The Fever and their fans have every right to be furious about that play, and I would not be surprised if there is additional league review coming Smith's way. Now let's shift gears and talk about the people who showed up, because as dominant as Clark was, there is a name in this building that I have been screaming about for weeks, and tonight she reminded everybody that she belongs in the starting conversation. Raven Johnson. This rookie, this absolute defensive menace, was spectacular on Thursday night. According to play-by-play reporting from Scott Agnes of the Fever Beat, Johnson was a consistent, disruptive force on the defensive end throughout her minutes, and even when Dallas was building leads and outscoring Indiana badly in stretches, Johnson's energy and defensive activity were keeping the game from becoming a complete blowout in the first place. As reported by Sports Illustrated's preseason takeaways piece, Johnson has been one recurring positive for Indiana across both preseason outings. If she develops even a respectable mid-range jumper at the professional level, she is going to be one of the most dangerous two-way guards in this entire league, paired next to Clark. That backcourt could be something truly special. And then, and I genuinely say this with respect, because real accountability is what builds good teams, we need to talk about Monique Billings, because the rest of the starting lineup outside of Clark was simply not there tonight. As reported by Sports Illustrated, the 4 other starters combined for 20 points total. Clark had 21 by herself. Kelsey Mitchell and Monique Billings combined to go 5 of 17 from the field. Sophie Cunningham did not attempt a single field goal. Those are not numbers that win basketball games, preseason or otherwise. Now, in fairness, Aaliyah Boston and Lexi Hull were both unavailable for this game, and according to reporting, those two are expected to fill starting roles when the regular season begins. So the lineup we saw tonight was not the finished product, but Billings specifically has to be better. If you are going to occupy a starting spot on a Caitlin Clark-led Fever team, you have to bring something to the table every single night, and that was not on display Thursday. I also want to address the coaching situation, because Dre Fiver has questions for Stephanie White. Now look, I respect what she has built in Indianapolis, and I understand that this is preseason and lineups are still being evaluated. But the defensive schemes that were run on Thursday night allowed Paige Buchers to score 20 points on 8 of 12 shooting. Buchers is an elite player, I am not disputing that, but if your defensive strategy is giving the opponent's best player clean looks and open driving lanes, that is something that needs to be addressed before May 9th. Dallas won this game 95-80, and at no point did the Fever look like a team that had figured out how to defend at a high level outside of individual efforts from Johnson. The Aaliyah Boston and Lexi Hull absences hurt, but adjustments still need to be made. One bright spot from the bench that deserves recognition: Shatori Walker-Kimbrough. According to Sports Illustrated's preseason takeaway report, Walker-Kimbrough was effective in her minutes and is strengthening her case as the frontrunner for the final roster spot. That kind of depth matters when you are trying to build a championship caliber team around your franchise player. Kelsey Mitchell has also been flashing improvement, and based on what I have seen across these two preseason games, the conversation about who deserves playing time behind Clark is a healthy one for this organization to be having. Here is the bigger picture that I want to leave you with. The Fever opened their regular season on May 9th away at Dallas against these same Wings. The team that just put 80 on them in a preseason game. The team whose player just sent Caitlin Clark to the floor in a scary moment that could have been catastrophic. If I am Stephanie White, I am using every single day between now and that game to tighten the defensive rotations, to get Boston and Hull integrated as quickly as possible, and to have a very direct conversation about how this team is going to protect its most important asset. Because Clark herself has said publicly that health is the most important thing heading into this season, and after what happened Thursday night, that statement hits differently. Caitlin Clark responded to every critic, every ranking, every person who wrote her off because of injury. She went out and scored 21 points in 16 minutes against professional defenders, and she did it with the precision and poise of someone who has been locked in all off season. The knee scare is real, and it deserves attention. But Clark said she feels fine, and until the Fever tell us otherwise, I am going to take her at her word and trust that the medical staff in Indianapolis is doing everything right. What I will not do is pretend that Alanna Smith's play was acceptable. It was not. In a league that is fighting every day to protect its stars and grow its audience, you simply cannot have defenders stepping into shooters' landing zones. That play needs to be reviewed. That play needs consequences, and Alanna Smith needs to understand that the Wenba cannot afford to lose Caitlin Clark to a reckless closeout in a preseason game. Year 3 for Caitlin Clark starts for real on May 9th. She has a score to settle, with the critics, with the injuries, with this league, and now, apparently, with the Dallas Wings specifically. If Thursday night was any preview of what she is bringing to this season, the rest of the EMBA should be very, very worried, and Street Hoops is going to be right here covering every moment of it. Now, before I let you go, that is the content, that is the breakdown, that is the drama, but I need something from you. If you found this video valuable, if you learned something, if you felt something watching that play, smash that like button right now. Do not scroll past it. Hit it. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Alanna Smith's play was intentional? Do you think Raven Johnson is the real deal? Are you concerned about Caitlin Clark's health heading into the regular season? I want to hear everything, every single take. And if you are not already subscribed to Street Hoops, what are you doing? We are no filter basketball news, all day, every day. No sugarcoating, no agenda, just the truth. Subscribe, hit the bell, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Dre Fiver. Peace.